get some research going. What type of... Do you have any... What was that? What is that? Well, I'm dead. Well, that sucked, man. Well, we were cruising. We were really cruising into hardcore solo self-found, and frankly, we were going a little too fast. It was about 15 hours into stream, and I was just crushing the white map content. I didn't feel a fear of dying at all. With 5k HP going right into the initial white maps, that's really kind of overkill. And frankly, before that, the 10 or so maps we did before that one, we didn't drop below 80% the entire time. So out of nowhere, getting just absolutely demolished like that was... I didn't see it coming, and I didn't react to it. One, I was zooming into the corridor, and they precast a whole bunch of those, I think it was like cremation or something. I've never seen that before. I don't know if it's a new mechanic in terms of how deadly it is. It's like how they updated Oak, and Oak randomly got a gajillion regen. I don't know if it's a similar thing where they updated the monster's cremation, and now it does way more damage than it ever did before. Because I've never been afraid of the Caldera bosses there, those side bosses, but out of nowhere, they absolutely deleted me. So it was a bit unfortunate. I was really thinking I had a good chance at cruising all the way through Awakener. In the past 2 hours of that gameplay, I had gone from rank 400 on the list to rank 200, and we really were putting out the same XP numbers as the top guys. We were really going pretty fast. So it was a big bummer to die there, but it's not the end of the world. It's okay, and I'm pretty excited to play this character in regular Heist. I think it's going to be a really strong character. I think it has really strong potential. I was thinking I was going to switch right immediately to Hex Blast, but then as I was sleeping, or trying to go to bed at least, and I was thinking about it, I was this character has so much potential. I think it could hit 10k HP. I think it could possibly hit a few million DPS with how strong FlameWall is. I think there's a lot of potential for this build, and I know quite a few guys are starting with this build, and I want you guys to be able to have a good guide to work off of and a good example of how to make it really strong and go straight into the end game. So I think today we're going to re-roll the Heist. We're going to make the character in Heist, and we're going to do it right. I was a bit bummed out for the death, but you know what? It happens. You try. It was fun to try to compete in the SSF race. I think, you know, next league we'll do even better. We'll try even harder. We'll have more preparation, and we'll get it done. That's the goal. Now I started looking around to see if I could use a map device in like the Chamber of Sins Act 7 or something, because I haven't done the quest line, I guess, for getting the map device here. I don't know. Either way, I wanted to showcase you how fast this build moves, so I'll just go ahead to Act 9 Blood Aqueducts just to show you what it looks like. And keep in mind, I'll be melting pretty much everything instantly. It would be the same thing in regular maps like this, but for example, if I go to a blue pack, I probably should have done this at the last blue pack, but if you go up to a blue pack, blue pack, you would basically just drop your flame wall and keep moving if they didn't die pretty much instantly. Flame wall itself deals so much damage. I could not be more than happy with how it performs, or could not be happier with how it performs. And frankly, it's really kind of wonky with the leveling. So if you use Flame Wall, initially, it has way more XP requirement to level up than other gems. I don't know if it's bugged or what, but it's really hard to level. And on top of that, it has some of the weirdest gem scaling I've seen out of spell gems in PoE. And that is, the gem for Flame Wall has like this weird arc curve of damage scaling. I haven't seen a gem do this before, but for example, from level 17 to level 20, it doubles its damage. That is something I'm not used to seeing in gem level scaling in PoE. Normally, the PoE damage scaling is like 10% per level, and it's a little bit higher when going from 0 to 20, but for Flame Wall, it seems like it's exaggerated, and it even goes more damage per level when you get over 20. So scaling gem levels is really effective with Flame Wall, and I'm really excited about the potential of using this in the build, because it does a ton of damage, and that mixed in with Righteous Fire, the Righteous Fire makes the clear really fun, and then the Flame Wall itself, you can just drop on bosses, drop on a nice rare, a big pack of blues, and it'll take them all out, and it feels really good. Probably should have gone over this, I don't know if I did or not, but the sustain on the Righteous Fire it's basically just perfect sustain at this point. We don't have much problems with it at all at level 75, 5k HP. And nothing but upside, really. So I'm going to reroll to regular Heist, guys, and I'm going to perfect this build because I really want to give you guys a good build to work off of. I think it's going to be fairly cheap to frankly work with, and on top of that, I think it's going to deal quite a bit of damage, and you're going to be able to do all the content with this. And on top of that, it's going to give you something that you can learn the content with. You can go and you can misplay, you can take a big hit, and still be able to keep playing the boss fight, and that way you can learn the boss fight. So I'm excited to min-max this build, guys. I hope you guys are too. I know a lot of you guys have stopped by the stream and were just asking me about the build. I really enjoyed having you guys there, and I will hopefully see you today when I'm streaming. If not, catch you guys later in the next video. I started ending that video, but I completely forgot to go over gem links, what it looks like right now as level 70 character with kind of some SSF gear. Quickly, I'm going to just hover over all the gear pieces if you were really curious to pause the video and see what I have. Point is, it's not that great a gear. And let's go over gem links. Gem links, flame wall. We have inspiration. We were going to use controlled destruction, but we couldn't get a 4th blue because we had 40 chromes to chrome it, and it just didn't work. So screw this helmet. But inspiration works too. Then we got elemental focus. We got efficacy. Other links you can use are things like swift affliction. Empower's really good if you can afford it because of how well flame wall scales with gem levels. So that's your flame wall setup for your righteous fire. I've been going with righteous fire, burning damage, elemental focus, and then inspiration because that's pretty good damage links that allow you to still have a good radius on your righteous fire. And then for our Orb of Storms and Flame Dash, we linked them both to inspiration. That's so when we're mapping through and we're putting down the Orb of Storms, we're Flame Dashing, we're generating the inspiration charges. And that way you'll have the damage for your Righteous Fire when you're running through monsters as well. Over here, we have Enduring Cry, linked to Blood Magic, so we always have it guaranteed. If you get the point where your mana is actually pretty good on sustain, go ahead and drop the Blood Magic, get in Second Wind. I got percent mana regeneration rate on a couple pieces of gear, and all of a sudden I completely sustained my mana pretty much the entire time I was mapping. So at this point I could have switched to Second Wind to have the Enduring Cry go off more often, and also it would affect Immortal Call, so that way you could proc your Immortal Call more often. Immortal Call is just really good if you're about to take a big hit, pop it. If you're needing to do damage to a boss and you have the Valakos, when you pop Immortal Call, that'll give you that 15% more damage for 8 seconds. Really, it's worth doing, because if you're next to a boss, when you proc Enduring Cry, it's going to give you multiple endurance charges, and then the endurance charge generation from Chieftain will go, and you'll get the endurance charges back before Immortal Call even wears off. And so you'll be very tanky even without those even without the endurance charges, and you'll get the endurance charges back by the time the Immortal Call comes up. So feel free to just pop it off whenever you need to do more damage. Every 8 seconds, pretty much. Immortal Call, instant cast, gives you more damage, and it makes you real tanky. Also use it for when you're about to take big hits. Also, shield charge, faster attacks, fortify. This is basically our move through the maps. This is our zoom setup. And lastly, vitality. Vitality was massive. This thing has so much flat life regen at the early levels that it completely carried our sustain. Like, it made up for the Enduring Cry nerf and then some with how good it was early game. So definitely don't forget Vitality, and don't forget Malevolence. I think, is there anything else I missed? Oh yeah, Wave of Conviction, Combustion. This is simply so that if you Wave of Convict somebody, it'll hit them with fire damage and ignite them. So they will have both fire exposure and ignite for -18, so we'll get like -40 resistance from Wave of Conviction, and you'll overwrite that with Orb of Storms. One last thing I could do here is get a second blue socket here for Stormbrand, and you can start dropping Stormbrands as well, so that way you have higher elemental overload uptime. Not completely necessary, but in the end game might be worth it, because it starts to get harder to keep EO up if you don't have good percent crit, like 120% chance if you haven't crit recently boots type of enchant. So that's basically it, guys. And I'm gonna get to working on the build in Heist. Peace out.